Good morning. Sorry, I had to start an hour later today. Sorry about that. I'm here. All right. We'll be doing our second round of base sculpting today. So you can see here I completed the homework, which was to rockify the rest of this base using our rock sculpting tools and reference to see how certain rocks look. Now this piece actually fell off here, so we're gonna reattach that. The end grain likes to soak in clay glue quite a lot, so yeah, nobody said anything in chat, so that means I got away with it. So that's what that means. If I start late and nobody says anything in chat, then I win. Rockify the Christmas tree. That's right. So what we're gonna do to finish this base off is we are going to take our styrofoam creation here, and we're gonna glue it down to this, and then we're gonna glue this to this, and then we're gonna use epoxy clay. This is what I have. It's called Magic Sculpt. To cover the outside of this with this material, which will harden. So if you don't know what epoxy clay is, first off, it's two-part. It's always a two-part mixture. So you have the resin and the hardener, and you take equal amounts, or roughly equal. It doesn't have to be perfect. Mix them together, and then you get probably about an hour to 45 minutes of good working time before it starts to harden, before it starts to really get to the point where you can't really detail it very much. So now also with epoxy clay, the way it works is this: when you initially mix it, it's the softest and stickiest it will be. Okay, so at the beginning phase, it's like we want to get it stuck to the project. And then it progressively gets firmer and firmer and less sticky and less sticky as we get closer towards that 45 minutes to an hour marker. And at that point, it's just become so firm that it's just, you can't really do much with it. So basically, we're going to use... So it is best to work in sections. That's right. Technically, you don't want to bite off too much. You also don't want to over mix, where you're mixing a bunch of material and then you're working with it real slow, and then you have this big blob of material that just turns into a hardened rock. Now that's just going to happen while you're figuring out kind of where those limitations are. I still have that happen where I'll mix up some epoxy clay and not use the amount that I think. So, and during this sculpting of the rocks, we're also going to hide the cable for the robot. We're going to do all the work for that. So, yeah. So first let's get the hot glue gun plugged in. Where's it at? Ah. Yeah, I mean, the cable hiding on ours is going to be real easy. A lot easier than yours, I think. Now, I'm going to use hot glue to glue these parts together. But I like to use hot glue alongside another type of glue. So, like, this is the quick hold and then the long-term hold, which will probably be this. I should have some white glue around here, or a 5-minute epoxy glue would work too. I think my white glue's in the other room. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna go grab my white glue. You could use white glue, or white glue is basically PVA glue, or you could use 5-minute epoxy. But we're just gonna use white glue. Alright, I'll be right back. Let me go grab the glue. All right. So I have this original glue, tacky glue, all-purpose adhesive. Pretty much any sort of white glue, all-purpose adhesive will work. I normally have a different one, but it appears I've run out of that other one, and I need to reorder it. So this will have to do. You know what I was thinking? I was also thinking a good method for creating a durable shell around foam is those plaster bandages from that we use for mold making. That would totally work for creating like a hard exterior coat to sculpt on top of. Wood glue would work, yeah. Wood glue it's kind of like a beefed up PVA glue, I'm pretty sure. All right, we're in general chat. Yeah, 1 second. I wonder if there's a way to see how long they've been part of the server. Member since October 23rd, 2025. December 21st is when they joined the Discord. Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, anytime there's something too good to be true, it usually is. That's just hard to tell. But they're new, so yeah, I wouldn't. And I think I'm going to probably remove the messages for now. Delete message. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my scam radar is going off too. Actually, let me just one moment, please. We will time them out. And if they're not a scammer, they can explain themselves. What we got? Guilty until proven innocent. It seems to be on the rise lately with Discord shenanigans. Deagle. All right. The intruder hath been squashed. Okay. Okay. All right, we got our hot glue gun heating up here. Yeah, but the MacBook was a lie, just like the cake. It was your wanting of the MacBook that almost got you in trouble. Good thing. You weren't totally controlled by your desires. Okay. Huh. All right. Let's take a look at what we got here. I want to take a look at our shape and kind of decide how we want this to look. Should also put the robot in place to make sure he balances still. I never bothered because they were always beyond my budget. Okay, I see. I was having trouble getting this foot in here. Or if some clay got in there. Oh, I see. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Once you kind of get into building your own rigs, then you don't really need to bother with Mac anymore. This is true. Wait, there's someone in Creative Corner too? It is a pretty ridiculous base, but I like how the piece looks being taller. Dang, they're gonna mess up my position on Creative Corner for... Ah. Wait, so when I time them out... Okay, yeah. I'll just...
Listen
I think if I just
closely,
ban them...
traveler, to what I say. Twitch Prime does not even cost a dime.
Banish from... Delete message history previous 24 hours. Pff, gone. Dang, I lost my place on Creative Corner. Hey, Barbarian. Thank you for the Prime sub, my friend. 42 months. I appreciate that. Okay, I think I have it. Let's see. Can I mark this as unread? Yes. Oh, jeez. I was able to reestablish my place here. Why the area of wood? Just did not get to it. This? Oh, no, this fell off. This is the power of cosplay right here. Because this is not cosplay. These are the kinds of issues you have to deal with when you don't use cosplay. I have to glue that on. Okay. Alright, I think I like how that looks. So let's just set this forward here. Hey. So our hot glue gun should be heated up enough here. Why is it not cosplay, CNET? Well, I needed use an obscene amount of material to sculpt this base, and I happen to have a large quantity of the older clay I used to use. So I figured it was a good place to use it. For like base bulking and stuff, you know. I still want to use like 2 pounds of cosplay on that base. But I really wanted it to look that way. Alright. Okay, so let's see here. We got the hot glue gun down, or hot glue down. We're gonna use some white glue here in the mix. This is more for our long-term hold. And we're just gonna, I think we had it kind of like this. Gonna push it down. Chavant's a good clay. You just can't make anything, like you can't make a finished product out of Chavant. You have to mold and cast. I didn't figure it out. I didn't even look into it though. I can't remember. I just remember I did get it from like an exotic woods dealer. Some sort of rainforest variety. Long time ago. Okay, let's see. That should be good. Nice and sturdy there. Just gonna glue it. Same way. So, you know what, let's see. Let's grab this knife. Gonna kind of trim up the foam. White glue is pretty strong stuff. Very useful for a lot of things. I mean, it's not as strong as epoxy, but strong enough. Let's cut this here. There we go. Okay. Okay, so our next step here. Let me remove the robot for now. Oi. And I think I missed. Let me make sure I didn't miss any chat here. Yeah. Yeah, blue snow, I've seen those techniques using, you can use this foam, and I've even done it before to actually carve the foam and make it look like stone. My only issue is I don't like the finish. It's not really like a permanent finish. It's pretty it's like dentable, you know, even if you coat it with something to get it to be stiff. It's still not quite the sturdiest of finish. So I try to avoid it as much as I can. So that's why I'm not going to be doing that with this. We're going to be coating it with epoxy clay to get the actual finish. All right, we're going to trim this just a bit more here. I'll create this more narrow base here. The focus was clean. Yeah, so after this class, we're going to be not doing class. And me and the missus are going to be repurposing Sundays for a little while for another project we have. So another kind of quest. So it won't be the last class I do, but it will be kind of like a class dismissed for a little while. We basically, I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. Basically, our schedule is so booked that if we want to try to pursue other things, usually Sunday was the day that we would do that. But since I started doing the class, so a lot of the normal Sunday work has been tried to mush into the rest of the week, you know, and it's already so full, so we can't really. So we want to we have projects and ideas we want to try to do, but we have just zero time to do it. So Sunday is the day to do that. So no, it's not starting till after we're done with the robot class, Levita. Yeah, we will do classes again in the future, I'm pretty sure. It's just more of a, yeah. Yeah, I'd get into more specifics, but these are all kind of back burner secret projects that me and the missus want to start chipping away. And also catching up on a bunch of just behind the scenes type work, you know. So usually it's normal to have at least a day per week to do all the behind the scenes stuff, you know. And having the class each Sunday has been really chipping into that time. So Sunday is meant to be just an off stream work day. So, but it'll come back, I'm pretty sure. All right. Well, you know, let's cut a little bit here. I want to create enough room for the epoxy clay to get in there without it being, I don't want it to be flush to this edge. I want this edge to kind of overhang all the way around. Can I forget about Foam Mountain and just paint him? No, I was going to make Foam Village at the base of the mountain, too. A whole robot village before we get to the painting. Actually. Whole robot village of robot mountaineers living their robot lives. Okay. Okay, good. Next. So now this is attached, but it's not like super sturdy, you know, like that I would trust it. This is attached enough that it would hold together and everything would be fine. But if this were to fall, you know, hopefully your pieces never fall, but it's always good to over-engineer them so they could survive a fall. This would hold up just fine as it is, but if it were to fall, there would be a good chance that these three components would come undone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some screws, kind of like this, really snug up to the foam, and I'm going to just screw them into the wood here, like that, and screw them into the wood like here, okay? So just hugged up against the foam, into the wood, but not like, it doesn't have to be super deep, probably about that much. And these are going to be little anchor points, so when I go over this with the epoxy clay, it's going to really lock it all together. So the only way for it to come apart then would be for these for the epoxy clay around each of these screws would have to completely break for it to actually come apart. So that's going to be really strong. That'll never come apart once we do that. So now we might want to drill some little pilot holes just in case. So I'll probably do that so we don't get any unforeseen splitting of the wood. We're just going to pre-drill some small holes here. Wouldn't be too big. It's probably too big too. Someone posts on robot class when it starts. The robot class is not stopping. The pause in classes is not starting until after the robot class is finished. or what do you mean? La vida, la vida, la vida. Whatever shall we do with you, la vida? Okay, let's see. We're just not going to be starting. Will feedback be given on a different day when you take your break? Yeah, you know, we'll figure something out for that, for sure. It'll probably be a different day. Maybe, you know, it'll probably just become a part of our Friday show and tell. Where we give feedback. Let's see here. That's the right size. Yeah, I think that should be good. Okay. So we're gonna pre-drill some holes here. There we go, just like that. But we'll probably do at least 3 points on each, at least 3 points here. And then at least 3 here. So let's get that done. Oops, sorry. All right. Was it 3 minutes? Let me see here. All right, 3 minutes, 24 seconds. But I was muted drilling things while you came in, so I deserve at least some sort of extension. But hello. All right, so now we got those screws drilled in place. Yeah, I actually greeted you, but you just couldn't hear me because I was muted. So. Probably next step before we mix up our epoxy clay. So let's get our robot in place here. And we're gonna run the wires for the robot. Undo these here. So basically, we'll just kind of carve a little channel for this. Down, 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 all the way to here. So let me just mark this really quick. There's already a crack here in the rocks we can just widen. And then it'll go down to here. Carve a little channel in here. And we just simply hollow that out a little bit there. You got this. You'll figure it out. I know you will. Now, once we do this step, the robot will have to be permanently added to the base. I'm just carving kind of like a V channel here. Now, if I had some of those disconnection points, we could continue to leave the robot detachable by putting in a disconnection point. But I don't have them right now, so we're gonna have to just permanently attach the robot. Basically, we cover this channel up with some epoxy clay. Let's carve this down next. It's better to do, instead of really forceful cuts, just mini cuts. Depth of 1,000 cuts. There we go. Well, let's see. If you had done the base this way, all you would do for the battery pocket is you would just have to carve like a larger opening, probably about this big here. So I would carve this whole area out of the foam, hollow it out. I would sculpt everything around this with epoxy clay. The stones and everything. Not doing a foam mountain though, see now. Well, you have to have a place to hide your battery. So, whatever place you decide that's going to be, you hollow it out, you sculpt the area around it, and then you just simply sculpt some sort of a door to cover up the... Now you can sculpt the area around it and then kind of create a lip on the inside. Then you can make the door kind of fit and then use magnets. Kind of like what I did with the Journey recently. Yeah, magnets is the easiest way. Or, let me show you. They sell 9-volt battery compartments on Amazon that are made to house a 9-volt battery and has a functional door and everything. So you would just cut a place for that, stick it in there, use epoxy clay to sculpt and conceal it. 9-volt battery compartment. They sell them for guitars, for using for guitars, but let me show you. You can see here. Okay, something like this. So basically would insert that into your project and then sculpt on top of the door so it would blend in, you know. Epoxy clay will stick to pretty much anything, so you can stick the epoxy clay to the door. Just make sure all the functional components are not covered so it'll actually still work. You don't have... Oh, well, what batteries do you have, Lavita? Because I assure you, it's the same thing, just... Oh, even easier. It's a small one. Let's see here. Yeah, that's easier to conceal because that's a smaller package. Let's see. Coin battery compartment. Battery holder with switch. I mean, there's options out there for sure. Here's one I just found real quick. Oh, so. Right there, look at that, see? Little compartment. Even has an on and off switch. The point is you find something that's already functional. It's already functioning the way that you need it to function, and you're just making it look pretty instead of reinventing the function. Well, it's great if it's already in one of those and it has a little door, little open close door, then that's all you have to do. You just have to insert that into this project, sculpt on top of the door, other than the hinges and any functional parts, or even just painting it. And then there you go. You can access your battery compartment and it can blend in. All right. Let's see here. We gotta cut this foam next. I'm gonna use a different tool here. I'm just gonna scoop this out. There we go. That's right. Yeah. So you're sculpting it in a way that you can still open the door. So wherever the hinge of the door bends, and wherever the part that, if there's like a little latch, just don't sculpt over those parts, but sculpt over the rest of it. And just leave those parts kind of showing, and you can just paint them, and it should blend in real nice. Okay, so we just kind of pack our wires in here. And now we're pretty much set for our epoxy clay. All right, but you know what? Let me check something really quick. I want to see when is my order of disconnection points coming in. Okay, hold on 1 second. All right, here. Order has been shipped. Tracking number. Track order. Your shipment was received. Oh. All right, change of plans. Wait. Oh, no. Okay. All right, now. I was gonna say, I'm not in Colorado. Shipping label created. Okay, it's not even in transit yet. Jeez. Okay, all right, we're permanently attaching the robot then. Okay, so before I glue these in here, actually 1 second here. Sorry, my mind is going to a few different ideas. I could steal this one from the backpack. I'm trying to think of a way to make it so I can keep the character detachable, because it would be nice for painting. I ordered more of these right here, but I didn't expect I was going to make the base so large. I was going to leave the character attached permanently here. But it is always nicer to have the character removable for painting reasons. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal this from the backpack and return. I'm going to borrow it and return it later, since we don't really need the back. That would give time. Okay, when's that supposed to come in? Not even sure. In the hopes that this comes in, the replacement comes in time before we need it again. I think that's a wiser move to make. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Little divert here. So I'm basically gonna be adding this disconnect point here at the base of the foot. I'll have to kind of carve a bigger area for this to hide in, you know, because you want some slack on the wire. So we can remove the character and then disconnect the wire. And then this will all be kind of permanently under there. There'll be a little disconnect here, and then the character can be removed and the lighting can still plug in. That's how we do it. Okay. Let's execute this plan. I'll grab this end with some more slack. Give it a little snip. And this bulb here, we'll just give it a snip right here. Oh. This bulb can go into our... I'll just set it to the side for right now. All right. Okay, now we have to do a little bit of rewiring here. I think how we have this change of plans. You know, this is part of the sculpting gig here, folks. I hope that's becoming apparent for those that are learning that you have to be adaptable. You have to allow your plans to change for the betterment of the piece. But I'm gonna go get some coffee first. Let me bring it back, and then we're gonna rewire this to have this. We're gonna create a deeper pocket for this to hide for the excess, because we want some slack on the cable so there's room to remove the character and it not be kind of like a really tight fit. And yeah, and then we're gonna rewire this, and then we'll have it so the robot can come off and it isn't permanent. So the sculpt takes its own, it tells its own story. That's right. You're simply it's like discovering a trail. You decide to go embark on a journey through the woods. So you make the decision to start the journey, but then you discover a trail along the way, a little game trail where some animal's been through, clearing the way a little bit. You can decide to go that way, and it's going to be an easier, more pleasant journey where you might discover things, or you can continue to like blitz the direction you want to go through like thorns and bushes and rocks and cliffs, and probably be a little bit more roughed up. So that's really what it's like. So you could take the road that's kind of showing itself to you, or you can continue to be stubborn. So we're gonna choose to go with the nice matted down pathway here. So all right, I'll be right back. Yeah, you're right, Deagle. Actually, in hindsight, just drilling a hole through this would have been a smoother approach for sure. Actually, I might still do that. That'd be an easy way to hide the slack for the cable. Just get like a large drill bit. Oh yeah, we're gonna do that. Let's take this off. And I'll just drill a hole right next to the hole where the foot goes. At an angle. And we'll make it a little bit wider so there's room to hide the slack. Let's see. Get like a larger bit, maybe like this one here. Okay. Now, I think we'll drill it right here at the front of the foot. So we can kind of cut a little bit of a trench and everything should be concealed right under the footprint of the robot. So let's go right there down to here. Okay. We ended up here under the foam somewhere. So let's cut this. There, right there. There we go. Okay, then we just do this. There's a nice hindsight 2020 thing right there. That's much better. Or Deagle Sight 2020. Actually, where's the wires come out on the robot? Yeah, it's pretty much right there. Okay. Right there. Okay. Now, let me get the soldering iron plugged in. Where's my soldering iron? Oh, there you go. Plug it in. Vitamins. Vitamin it up. Soldering iron getting nice and hot. Got some tape here. Where's the solder? Put it around here somewhere. Aha. All right. Okay, let's just set this off to the side. Oh, actually not. I need to kind of measure here. Oh, let's see. So basically, this will go like so, and then down under the foot. Mine Wayne, hello. '40s here and rainy. Yeah, it's been a little bit warmer than it has been. Complaints from me. Okay, so we need to make sure we get the right kind of slack here. You know, let me just. So wire strippers are here. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, thanks for coming back and checking in on me. And thank you for the kind words. Okay, we're gonna strip these. Okay. Oh. Oh, nearly burning myself with the soldering iron. Okay, that will go there. We need to get the distance of this correct that it will be. Let's see. Not too long, but not too short. Just right. So let's feed that down into there. There we go. Push this down. Wires concealed. So I think if we were to add, let's see if we were to add, let's twist this around here just to test it here. If we were to do this much. Yeah, that's crazy. What the heck? Yeah, this warm up we've been having has been feeling like spring is coming, but all right, let's tie these together. Just kind of just tying them quickly so we can kind of test it out before we commit. Okay. Then we put this here. Oh, that's not going to work. So this would come up, out, to here. Okay, that's what we need to do here. So you carved the channel, then decided to drill up through. Yes. Yeah, Deagle mentioned I should just drill through, and that's much smarter because I was able to drill a hole through the underside of the footprint, and then just drill a little channel from where the wire kind of comes from the side of the foot over to this channel. And that's just, we didn't need to do any of this right here. Okay, you know, let's just take the full length here, and we'll just kind of solder this to the battery plug-in. You see, I seen your message. Where? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did. Very, very wise, Mr. Deagle. Wisdom is a two-way road. Wait, you know what? Let me get to... Got any shrink tubing here? Let's get some shrink tubing. Got some bigger shrink tubing. Oh, there's some smaller stuff here. Yeah, it was definitely your comment. Don't worry, credit was given. The name Deagle hath been praised through the halls. I was on my woodland journey. Then a little squirrel named Deagle told me to go this way instead of that way. I decided to listen. Oh man. Excuse me. I seem extra happy lately. Oh, that's a good thing. I suppose that's a good thing, huh? Too short to not be happy, right? Ebb and flow of joy and sorrow, like the tides of the sea. There's high tides and low tides. Can't have one without the other. I'm gonna scratch this off here. Let's solder these. Need like a piece of wood or something. Oh. There we go. Looks good. Okay. Set that down so it doesn't melt nothing. Give this a bend. All right, now we're gonna heat gun that so it shrinks this tubing here. Okay, so let's feed this up through our hole. And we're gonna glue this down. Just gonna hot glue it in place. The hot glue is just to kind of hold it temporarily in place. The real holding will happen when we do the epoxy clay. Okay. That's probably way more than enough slack. Let's see. Let's let the hot glue firmen up here. I want to see if we can still tuck this all into this hole. That's going to be important here. If it's foam, wouldn't a staple work just as well? Staples wouldn't stick very well, I don't think. Not in foam. They would pop out real easy. Just a low temp hot glue is fine. I have this set to this hot glue gun has a low and a high setting. High will kind of melt the foam, so you want to set it to low. Low temp. Again, the hot glue gun I use a lot for like just temporarily kind of pinning things in place so that I can go back in with something that takes longer to harden to actually permanently adhere it, you know? Okay, so I think if we just kind of gonna kind of accordion bend these wires here like so, then it should all just kind of tuck right in here. Like so. So I just bent it like an accordion so this can come out. Which means we don't need much slack here on the bottom of the robot's foot. Well, that's the part we'll do next. we'll solder this part to the robot. Let me take that. Let's strip it. Carefully. There we go. Don't want to be cutting this any shorter than it already is right now. Okay, and the robot. Okay, so this just needs to get to the front of the foot. So about right here. We'll just cut this a little bit here. I gotta get these untwisted. There we go. Give those a strip. Oops. All right, let's twist these together. Oh, you know what? Let's get some shrink tubing on there first. Let's see if I have some more. Yes, I do. Perfect. So easy to forget the shrink tubing. You have to put it on first before you twist them, otherwise you can't get it on there. All right. Drop the piece on the ground so we can get our stretches in here. There we go. Always an important step. Gotta stay nice and stretched. Noodle. Canoodle. This is a little bit finicky here. Okay. Let's see. Get a better angle on it here. There we go. Block of wood to solder up against. Let's do the soldering. All right, good. Get that shrink tubing over there. It's a tight fit. We got there. That one's much better. Iron Giant? Yes. All right. Now, let's give it a test run, make sure everything's working. So, let's plug this in. Make sure it's okay. Hold it up. Just kind of tuck it in the hole there. Let's give that a go. Success. Now, let's plug it in. adapter here. Maybe this one doesn't work. I have to grab the power adapter from the other room. Oh wait, I think I might see one right there. The right one. This one might be. Yeah, this one is. Never mind, I have it right here. All right, plug it in. See if the lights are working. Ah, let's look at this. Yes. Okay, so good. That was the hard part. Looks like he has a metal whip. It's actually a grappling. He's like twirling a grappling hook. There's going to be a rope going here. And he's kind of like an explorer robot. Let me see. I'm going to shut. There we go. Kind of this. You can kind of see the whole idea here. Up to you. Let me put his backpack on now. So we'll just have to redo. There's a light in the backpack that we'll have to reset up. Because we're keeping the backpack detachable and we're keeping the character detachable. Let's see. There we go. I feel like putting him really high up just gave more of a better sense of him actually exploring. He's really like scaling a mountain or something, you know. Like a explorer bot. Okay, so next step is to basically cover all this up with epoxy clay and just sculpt it just like we did here. So we're going to use the exact same methods that we used for this on here. I'll show you guys a little bit what that looks like. And then the rest we'll just do for homework. So let's grab some of our epoxy clay. Now, I suggest you do this in sections. So, you know, I'll probably do one section here. Then you mix another batch and you do another section. Just make your batches smaller. You don't need to, don't try to do too much at one time. Because you end up wasting material that way. I have a little knife somewhere for getting this stuff out. Not sure where. Oh, right here. I have a dedicated little claw tool for getting epoxy clay out of the tub, because it can be quite a task. So we're just gonna. Let's see. Always remember what you're grabbing is actually half of what you're gonna end up having. Okay. Should be good. It's also worth mentioning that you should wear gloves when working with epoxy clay. I'm going to test freeform air epoxy. I've used that before, actually, Aaron. It's actually really nice. It's really lightweight. It's a little bit harder to actually sculpt, though. Like texture-wise, you almost have to kind of go with that natural texture that it has. You'll see what I mean. It's like a soft serve ice cream type of texture feel. So it's not as easy to actually control the sculpting part, but you know, just kind of work with the. But I like to feel the chemical burn. Well, this chemical doesn't burn, so. Should you have gloves on for epoxy? Yeah, you should. That was the hardener, though. That wasn't the resin. The resin is the part that really is the part that's not the best. Let's see here. So this is the only reason you want to put gloves on when you work with this stuff is long-term exposure can cause you to develop an allergy towards it. So it's good to just kind of hopefully prevent that from happening within your lifetime, you know. It's not, if you were to work with it with bare hands, I've done it before, and many other artists do too, it wouldn't like burn you or do anything bad unless you would have an allergic reaction. But like long-term exposure could cause problems. So, all right, so we're gonna grab our resin here. As equal parts as you can, you know, eyeball. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is the sticky part. Now you want to have. There we go. You want to have water on hand. Maybe a little bit more, huh? Let me grab a little bit more. Because it's a very sticky, and the water will help you it not be sticky. Yeah, I think that's good. So this is the hard part. Now we got to mix it. So I usually put the resin on the stickier stuff on the inside and the hardener on the outside. Tends to be a little bit easier to do it this way. You can also dip your fingers in the water, and that will help things not get sticky. And you basically just have to knead it by hand. It's a pain in the butt, but it's a necessary step here. Just do smaller amounts if you're having a hard time. As much of a pain in the butt this material is to work with, and all the little quirks it has, the results kind of like pay off. You know, it's worth it for the results, which is a super, super tough, hard finish that practically sticks to anything. You found twisting it mixes well? Let's see here. Oh yeah, that's a good tactic. The Hugo twist method. Just once you see all the color combined, then you know you're good. Now this stuff is really tough, so we don't need to do a huge thick layer of it on our sculpture here. It will be hard to stick the rocks into the clay, though. The thinner it is, the harder it's going to be to stick the texture in. But we're going to use baking soda as a dry lubricant. After we get this stuck on here initially, we're going to use baking soda to make it so the rocks will imprint their texture without actually permanently sticking. Yeah, the twisting does work quite well, actually. Very nice, Hugo. Very nice. I like that. Okay, getting a little bit sticky. We're gonna get some water on our glove here. Now I'm gonna deal with this area here because this will display everything you guys need to know about how we're dealing with the screws and the plug-in part and all that stuff. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So let's just pack this around our plug. That's an area I want it to be a little bit thicker on because, you know, plugging something in and out usually takes a lot of force. So the Hugo twist. Going right up to the edge of that plug. Usually I like to lay it down first before I make it look pretty. So let's go around the screw here. A little bit more material here. Okay, we're just going to be kind of smushing it on there. Just kind of smushing it up to the underside of this. Let's unplug this for now. It's actually, let's remove the robot. Hey, look at that, see? Success. There we go, much better. Stick it in place. All right, Looney Lorna. We'll catch you later. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Good. Okay, so now I will take my gloves off now. Not going to be handling it too much. And we will let me unplug this soldering iron and hot glue gun so I don't burn myself. Move those out of the way. All right. So we got some baking soda. And we got our sculpting stones. Just grab a few here. Some sculpting stones. And we're just doing the same process now that we did with the polymer clay. But we're going to sprinkle some baking soda on top here. Kind of rub it all over here. Hey, what's up, Signa? Now this is going to create a non-stick barrier, so when I use these stones to kind of push our rock texture and see, it's going to leave behind the texture without just sticking straight up to the rock. So then I'll just kind of go in here and we're just going to do what we did on the other part. Basically just design our stone using our reference. And then when you're done working this area, there's no reason you have to wait for it to dry before you start working on the next area. But you do want to make sure there's no baking soda lingering on the area you want it to stick. So just kind of remove it with some water. Could it be potato starch? It could. Yeah, I mean, any sort of powder. It could be talc powder. Any sort of powder that will just be a non-stick barrier. I like baking soda because it's just, it's technically a salt, so it's not like something that would it's not imperishable, if that makes sense. I don't know if potato starch would cause any sort of like rotting of any sort because it's a food, That would be my only concern. All right, so we got our kind of base rock texture in there, and then we're going to start kind of picking out some individual stones here. I don't. It might. Yeah, it might. Some of it might get stuck, like it kind of embedded into the epoxy clay. Because remember, the epoxy clay is very sticky, so that would be a concern. Little particles of potato embedded into the sculpture, you know, a couple years down the road, just causing some sort of issue, you know. Or it could be fine. I don't know. Could be fine. Could not be fine. I think as I get closer to the bottom, I'll have a little bit more of like almost like smaller stones. Why does this sculpture smell like a rotting potato? Spoiled potatoes. Right. Kind of feather out this edge here. Can we escape from Tarkov today? I don't know, can we? Are you able to? Can you handle it? Do you have what it takes? Okay, now we use our line tool. Wherever it is. Oh, there it is. What solder did you use for the wiring? This is some grade A lead-free solder. Purchased from Radio Shack. You will not be able to find such a solder these days because Radio Shack no longer exists. This is a valued collector's item. See the Radio Shack logo? Because we escaped from Tarka. Oh, I see. Yeah, my soldering iron and solder was purchased from Radio Shack a long time ago. We don't have it anymore. It was actually the first soldering iron I bought for the purpose of putting lights into my work back in the day. That was a long time ago. Went on over to Radio Shack and got everything I needed to do the job. Still have that roll of solder and still have that soldering iron. Hey, what's up, Lindsay? Radio Shack, yeah. So Radio Shack, if you didn't know, was a place that sold. It was like electronics store, but like really like real electronics. You know, like you could get all the wirings and not like Best Buy where it's just like consumer electronics. It was like people that wanted to tinker and build stuff type electronics, you know, so you could get components to make your own like circuit boards and stuff like that. And, you know, LED stuff, I think they had like, you know, what was big back then was those RC cars, the like battery powered remote control cars and stuff, like the really hardcore ones. Yeah, Circuit City was just like a Best Buy, but just a different flavor of consumer electronics. Radio Shack was more of like, it was like a electronics hardware store, you know, for the people, the DIYers and the ones actually building electronics or fixing them. I miss Radio Shack. Yeah, me too. It was nice to just go into a place and, you know, like there's plenty of places to go to for hardware. You know, you have a project, you have a problem, you're trying to kind of troubleshoot. You can go to the hardware aisle at like Menards and figure it out with what they have there. You know, Radio Shack was kind of like a place for the electronics where you basically go there and troubleshoot your electronic problem. And they'd have pretty much everything you would need to do any electronic work like that. You can get what you need at Menards, Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon. So what you need for sliding wires. Yeah, I mean, I think online is definitely where you can get a lot of stuff. I mean, that's why I have that place I get my lights from. It's really nice because they make it a lot easier. It's basically plug and play. It's not too expensive. You know, it's a good place. Yeah. I remember those like big battery packs you had to get. You had to get them from Radio Shack. I remember those. Okay, so I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna kind of clean up the area around the plug-in, make it nice and clean cut. And then I'm also gonna do the bottom edge here. I want this to be kind of pinched to the wood, and just a nice clean separation line there. I think Hobby Towns are still around. Hobby Town, USA. At least they were back, I don't know, like, well, maybe 8 years ago. Maybe they're not. Your epoxy is gray, not white. That's okay. It doesn't matter what color it is. Now, I'm using Magic Sculpt here, but there is a new... I'm only using this because I don't want to use a beta sample for a tutorial. But there's a new epoxy on the horizon made by the maker of Cos Clay, called Poxy Clay. Right here. This is the beta test number 9 I've been using. It's really nice. I have to say I enjoy working with it much better than this clay. It's much nicer to actually do the sculpting part. So the only downside I've noticed so far is it's a little bit, and it might even not be a downside, just a a preference thing, but it's a little bit on the. It's not as sticky. It doesn't stick. It's not as sticky initially, but it's really nice to sculpt with. So. Air dry will typically crack to some degree. Yeah, yes, it will. As it's because as the air is dry, as it's drying out, the water is kind of escaping, and it's usually shrinking. So it usually shrinks as well. I've seen people like adding PVA glue to like air dry clay and random stuff like that to try to prevent that from happening, but I haven't really experimented myself, so I can't say for sure. I just want to get this section done so you guys can see what that will look like, and then we'll switch over to Discord and do our feedback. Epoxy clay. Yeah, covered in pox. Pal. All right, that's pretty good. Just push it as far as you want, and yeah, that's it. It'll just harden all on its own, and then it'll be really solid as a rock. Rock solid. And we just do that all the way around. I'll also add some epoxy clay here and just kind of stick this on there with the epoxy clay to fix that part. And then there we go. Then our base is done. Only thing it needs to do is paint sand this up a little bit more with some hand sanding, and then it's going to be onto the paint stage, which I believe will be next. Yeah, and I think next we do the painting, and then so next class I'll try to knock this out. I'm gonna knock this out this week, and the next class will be the painting class. We'll probably need to do like 2 painting classes, I imagine, to cover everything. And then after that we do mixed media, and then like mixed media and finishing will be the last one probably. I'll be looking at a finished piece then. Okay, let's jump on over to Discord. For those of you, anybody participating in any of the free classes, you can post your photos or videos in Discord for review. Extra stream, yeah, you know, I'm thinking about trying to do an extra stream tonight. Thinking about it. No guarantees. Just want to throw that out there. To get Clayton excited, to betray Clayton's trust even more. All right, let's see. Let's jump over here to Discord. Let's see what you guys are up to here. We got some robots. Oh, bright, colorful background. Okay, Aaron, I'm starting the arms and hands. Sculpting awakens my soul and heals me. I look forward to the next day I can play with my clay. Thank you for your classes. Hey, Aaron. Awesome. There's some, you know, we live in a world full of destruction and consuming. It's nice to participate in the creation side, you know, the growing, right? I think that's really what it is at its core. To participate in the growth and creative side of this world, you know. All right, let's take a look here. This is awesome. Yeah, this is really the quirky kind of robot style that I was hoping would do well for you guys, and it's definitely is. So really cool. Awesome work, Aaron. I love the style of the shape and the head and all that stuff. 2 robots. Oh, you did 2? Oh, look at that. All right, let's see. Yeah, this is cool. All right, there we go. All right. It's almost like a brother and a sister kind of feel. Like a big brother. Cool. Oh yes, I remember the shapes when you had started the torso shapes. Yeah. This looks really good. I like the details right here. Right there. This like kind of see the depth with the shadows there. Just really draws you in. Same with the other hand. Ooh. Yeah, really awesome detail work there. Can tell you're enjoying the process. So, a Mr. and a Mrs. Nice work, Aaron. Keep it up. My Sculpt-A-Mold set. All right, let's see here. Looking good. It's all solidified. I love this little guy. Really awesome. Welcome back, Tex. All right, let's see here. Oh, I see. Okay. Green rock. Ah, okay. And you're using some like quartzy green rocks there. Nice. Static grass eventually. Nice. Very good. Very good there, Mr. Clayton. This is looking excellent. Nothing to say other than very good, very good. All right, let's head over to our dragons here. Let's see here. Other side of the wings are done and ready to bake. The side I'm showing on the wings in my hand is the baked side. Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah. You know, wings, I've learned over time, wings are just the hardest part of, one of the hardest parts of doing dragons is the wings. And even when it's not difficult anymore, it's still very time consuming. Okay, let's see here. All right. Hey, look at that pirate ship back there. Looking good. Oh, we got Carl, the almighty Carl. Got a good 3 hours of detailing in tonight. Slow, but can't argue with the results. Very pleased so far. Look at that. Slow and steady wins the race. You know, if anything, sculpting can teach you guys to just committing to long form projects, because anything in this world, like anything that's anything bigger than something that's, you know, just a quick drawing or a sketch, requires this long-term commitment and effort, you know, to get it done. I always love listening to stories like the developer of Stardew Valley, huge success of a game, but this person worked on it all by himself for 5 years, you know, just chipping away at it, but staying consistent, you know. So like really sharpening this ability to say, I'm going to work on this thing in any little pocket of time I can get and just stay on it, you know, never abandon the project, see it through, you know. And that skill right there can unlock all kinds of things. So I think sculpting is a good little taste of what that's like. So keep it up there, Carl. It's looking really good. Very symmetrical. Very nice work. Especially with the eyes. Front side of wings done and being baked. We'll do the back of them tomorrow. Okay. Ooh, we'll get a gray. Did you sculpt this out of cosplay too? Little cosplay hand sculpted mat. Very nice. Great. Those look good. Really, really symmetrical shape and everything. Yeah, I know. I was just joking about the placemat. It's the same color as the cosplay. All right, let's see here. Finish texturing face. Not enough time for it tonight, so tomorrow maybe. Okay. Wait, did you say finished? Did you say finished? All right, Carl. This stuff right here is just, it's too scratchy. It's too much. The direction of our lines, like, they should go kind of more like this, usually, you know, kind of like if it's this hard shell material that you're trying to depict here, this will, I don't think this will read well once it's painted. Yeah. And obviously it's before you've done the alcohol step, but definitely do the alcohol and brush out these fingerprints and add some sort of texture to those too. Maybe some tooling with a ball stylus. And then these lines right here look really good, but I want you to make them deeper as they go into the mouth. See how they're all the same depth? So I want the lines to be shallow out here, but then as they get closer to the, like, especially towards the inside of the mouth, make them a little bit deeper. So you see this kind of gradient. And then after you brush this, I want you to go over it again with even smaller lines and then brush it for the final time. So you got your nice large lines here. Brush it. Add the depth, brush it, and then do some like really light squiggly lines in the same almost in the same directions. And then brush it for the final time. So those are just some changes I would make. All right. Yep, and then of course brush this area like this way. Try not to touch the eyeball with the brush, just touch the eyelid and brush this way. That'll kind of round out and get rid of all this. See how this tooled look? This all can go away with some alcohol brushing. So just brush kind of with the flow of the lines. And on these areas, just kind of use the brush and go like this with the brush. So it's just kind of in from all directions, you know. And then same with these plates. I want you to make the lines a little bit deeper towards here. And then on the edge of the plates, make like little splits every once in a while to make it look like that these are these kind of hard carapace shell pieces. So what's the betting Carl got this out of the oven 5 minutes ago? Well, those are just some things. Just some things, Carl. If you had baked it, oh, okay. Not enough time for ISO tonight. Maybe tomorrow. That was the 18th. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't. We'll see. But yeah, those are just a few things that would really elevate this. So just want to push on the texture. It's funny. So Carl here has done a great job with the shaping, which usually is the thing people try to blitz past to get to the texturing and the detailing. But Carl's doing the opposite here. He's done a great job with the shaping, and we just need to put a little bit more into the texturing and the detailing. So yeah, this is the fun part, the promised land, and you've done such a great job getting here. I don't want you to blitz past that. Okay, take a couple sessions. You'll know when you work on something and then you think you're done, but don't bake it. Let it sit there, and then the next time you sit down to look at it, you're probably going to notice some things you want to change. So if you just rush off and bake it, it's locked in. You can't change it then at that point. So we're finished and baking. Next week will be the tail. I'll attach the wings last. Okay. That's great. That's a nice pair of wings. I would say these stand out just a little bit too much here. See these little guys here? It's fixable, but it's not a huge thing. You don't have to. I just something I pointed out. Like so basically what you would want to do if you wanted to address this is you would put clay glue down and then little piece of clay kind of along the edges of these, and then really smush it with your thumb to kind of blend it in. Yeah. No, don't use acetone. It's not strong enough. You would just do another layer where you paint. Let's see here. Yeah, it's just too harsh. Oh, you know what? This one's not too bad from this angle here, but this one a little bit more blending here. It's just too separated. So yeah, put the clay glue, paint the clay glue over the whole area here, and then just take a little snake of clay and just kind of smash it down all around here, and then like really push with your thumb and like blend it down to like a micron, you know what I mean? You'll see with the clay glue put down first, and then you smush that clay down, you'll see it really kind of, you can really blend it as if it was all still raw. And you'll just want to just pay attention to the edge. You're wanting this edge to disappear. And then, just then lightly go over with some texture. Once the shaping's done, just lightly go back over with some texture. And then you're good. Then just bake them one more time, and then you should be good. So this one you could mess around with it, but I think it's close enough. It's passable, but it could be blended a little bit more. But this one is needs more blending. You can blend. No, you can't blend baked clay, but you can add clay glue and then add a little bit of fresh clay and then blend almost like the area, the space between, you know, the two. You can blend the two forms together. So, all right. Nice job, Patricia. Let's check out the gremlins here. We got a gremlin update. Scramboozle. Oh, okay. Let's see. I see. Okay. Question about the tinfoil. Looking disastrous. That's fine. That's looking normal. At this stage of the project, this is normal. Yeah, looking really good. You have to have the vision to see past the early stages, you know. Right now, the only thing that's important about this stage is the shape, the shapes and the proportions, so the lengths of things. I would say probably a little bit thinner here. Like wrists and ankles, you really want to stay as thin as possible. But other than that, that's a good start. Proportions are looking good. Yeah, it's a good start. Now this looks like your initial first layer, so you still have to do the anatomy and stuff on top. So yeah, keep working it. Trust the process. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me this morning. I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back on tomorrow for our normal project lineup. And yeah, great work, everybody. And I look forward to our next session. Base will be finished, and we'll be jumping into the painting next week, which is exciting. Get some paint work done. But okay, let's find someone to raid, and I'm gonna get out of here. Let's see. Delio. Lothar. Yeah, let's go check out some metalworking. Oh, you know, actually Animare's on. Let's go raid Animare. Sculpting llama. Oh no. Llama, not llama. Alright, let's see here. Go check out some Animare sculpting, shall we? Okay, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow for the new week. Bye-bye.
It's the most darkest day, let's say. Most darkest, more shortest day. Cnot, fellow sculptor. Hello. Good to see you. Haven't seen you. Thank you so much for the raid, man. Bringing your people over here. Checking on my work. Yippee. How's everyone? I hope you had a productive Sunday stream, and happy winter solstice, 21st of December. I've been just saying like how the shortest day today. Okay, I'm working on one character. Oh yeah, last time I rated you, you asked me what I'm working on, and I said I'm working on one anime character. So there she is. That's the anime character I was working on. So she's a game character from Genshin Impact. I never played that game. But I'm making this for a birthday present for one lady who is turning 16 in 1 week, and she is passionable Genshin player, Genshin Impact player. So I think she will be very, very happy to receive this birthday gift. So I finished sculpting, and today is painting phase, painting day. Her name is Lauma, the name of the character. So yeah, guys, hope you're gonna enjoy the painting phase. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I'm redeeming coffee. Thank you. As it may seem, I do need to hop off. Okay, Ayoki. Thank you so much for joining us today. For checking on me. Really good day. I wish you the same. Really, really good winter solstice day. Love and peace. Yeah, love and peace. Take care. Yeah, look who just showed up. Yay. Yeah, I love cnot work. Cnot is amazing sculptor. Here on Twitch for a long time. And his work is so inspiring. So amazing. What a wonderful inspirational source, yeah. He got some moments, yeah. Yeah, he was like, when I started sculpting, that was like, oh my gosh, time is flying so quickly, so fast. That was 8 years ago, like a little bit less than 8 years ago. And he was, of course, he was sculpting here on Twitch, and I just discovered his channel, and I was like, whoa, that is amazing.